cloud is what blankets the sky here. You may smell it in the air, copper and sulfur. Burns the lungs and seeps into the skin of the city of the dead, buried beneath a blood-red claw.
You're walking a ruined street when daylight flips green and your Geiger counter starts ticking. Do you run, hide, or push through? In Fallout, weather can hurt you. It can rip the skin off your body, melt you into a puddle, or even turn the dead into living. Storms plague the wasteland, and many of them aren't natural occurrences. If you enjoy Fallout content, then you're definitely in the right place. We have a bunch on the channel and a lot more to come, so consider subbing. We appreciate you guys watching and enjoy the vid. You know what's terrifying about rad storms? It's not just the thunder or the green glow, it's what they mean. These storms weren't around before the bombs. They started after the Great War, when the air and the ground were still soaked with radioactive fallout. Early reports said some of the first rad storms were so violent they could lift people off the ground. Whole groups vanished because they were caught outside when the radiation kicked up. No one was ready for something like that. Imagine surviving the bombs, thinking you made it, then watching the sky turn a glowing green in the distance. You can't outrun it, and then you're hit by radiation strong enough to burn you from the inside out. It would have been awful. This is one of the most insane effects of the nuclear detonations that scorched the former United States. A rad storm brings green clouds, roaring winds, and lightning that glows green. When one rolls in, you'll hear a deep clap of thunder that's louder than anything normal weather ever made. And that's the warning that it's coming. The wind then picks up, the light changes to green, and the storm hits. During it, every flash of lightning spreads bursts of radiation, spiking the air with dangerous levels for anyone caught outside. It's about 5 rads per strike, and it was probably even higher right after the bombs fell. The only safety is getting inside or behind something sealed from the outside air. People learn to wait it out in closed rooms, or under working decontamination arches if they could find one. Even then, it was a gamble. Step outside too early and the radiation might still hang in the air. In the Commonwealth, rad storms happen more than anywhere else. The glowing sea is the reason why. The detonation site that turned into a radioactive crater still bleeds radiation into the atmosphere. Weather systems passing over it drag that material towards the ruins of Boston, spreading it across the region again and again. The further you are from the glowing sea, the less frequent the storms, but they still reach most of the Commonwealth. In a way, Boston never stopped getting hit by the bomb. The fallout just keeps returning, a constant cycle of storms that people have learned to live with. In Appalachia, the storms look different but follow the same pattern. You can see them forming from far away, green clouds rising from the blast zones. Once they reach your area, the radiation soaks into everything. Power armor or a hazmat suit can block most of it, and Rad-X can help for a short time, but that only delays it. If you don't get inside before the lightning starts, it's already too late. Fully sealed spaces are the only safe spots while the storm passes. The first months after the war were chaos, and these storms clearly made it worse. They carried radioactive dust across towns, cities, and mountains. Some survivors may have become ghouls because of them, while others likely died before radiation sickness could even set in. Scientists later called them atmospheric radiation events. But to the people who lived through them, they were just death from the sky. Years later, the storms calmed down a bit, but they never went away. Randall Clark, the survivalist from Zion Canyon, wrote about one that lasted 2 days. When it ended, the ground was covered in glowing green snow. Radiation levels dropped after it passed, but imagine stepping outside and seeing that. A whole canyon glowing in the dark. If that were me, I'd have figured the earth was cooked. More so than it is now. No life, nothing left. At least that's what I would have thought. Even centuries later, the world didn't heal. The bombs didn't just destroy cities, they changed the air, the storms, and maybe even the planet itself. It's a sign that the earth is still sick. Or maybe radiation is just part of nature now. Hopefully, it doesn't get worse in the future. The cloud isn't a storm or an accident. It's man-made, trapped inside a dead city and still killing anything that breathes. It hangs over the Sierra Madre, turning the air into a red haze that burns lungs and eats away at the skin. It's not natural weather or leftover from the bombs. It was created inside the labs of Big MT, a weapon that got out of control. Frederick Sinclair, the man behind the Sierra Madre, wanted to build the ultimate pre-war resort. He wanted luxury, holograms, and new technology that would make his casino stand out. But he was already close to broke and desperate to finish construction. When he went to Big MT, they promised him everything he needed: hologram security, matter recombinators, and advanced materials. What he didn't know was that he was also agreeing to let them test something deadly on his property. The scientists at Big MT were developing experimental airborne toxins at their Z43 innovative toxins plant, and the Sierra Madre became their testing site. The first time the cloud appeared, it started when the villa's ventilation system broke down. It wasn't built well. Pipes clogged, pressure built up, and the gas burst out across the resort. Workers began choking and coughing up blood. The villa's clinic filled up fast, but no one recovered. The cloud didn't clear up. It stuck to walls, poured through the vents, and wouldn't go away. Sinclair begged Big MT for help, and they sent him black hazmat suits called dark light suits. They were meant to protect maintenance crews while they searched for leaks, but when the workers entered the vents, the toxins ate through the locks on their suits and corroded the metal. Some suffocated inside the suits. Others had to cut themselves out with steak knives in the clinic. The system was eventually patched back to working order, but the damage was already permanent. Then the Great War hit. The Sierra Madre was forgotten while the rest of the world burned. Its systems kept running for a few years after the bombs, and then they failed. Without working fans to contain it, the cloud spread across the entire resort. Over time, it blanketed the streets and rooftops, blocking the sunlight. The air became poison, and the workers who stayed behind, the same ones who tried to fix the problem, mutated inside their suits. The filters changed their bodies, keeping them alive in a state that's not human anymore. Those became the ghost people. The cloud is a self-replicating toxin that never stops producing itself. It fills the atmosphere like dust and smells of copper and sulfur. It burns your lungs the second you breathe it in, and it seeps through your skin, even if you try to cover it up. Light exposure causes coughing, dizziness, and trouble focusing your eyes. Stay in it too long and your body starts breaking down. Concentrated pockets are worse. They eat through flesh while you're still alive. No gear can hold out forever. Hazmat suits and rebreathers fail once the toxin breaks their seals. Sleeping outside in the Madre is a death sentence. It kills the living, but it keeps the dead intact. Corpses don't decay. They stay frozen in time, as if the toxin decided when they should stop aging. The same gas that destroys flesh also preserves it. It even reacts differently to materials. Some metals rust, others stay perfect, and no one knows why. The ghost people are what happens when the toxin fuses with the dark light suits. The cloud moves through them, trapped inside their lungs and veins, repairing any damage they take. They don't breathe and they don't die like normal humans. Cutting off a limb or burning the body is the only way to stop them. Anything less and the gas just rebuilds them. Even with all that, the cloud can still be pushed back for a while. Fans across parts of the Madre can clear narrow paths before it rolls in again. Some scavengers even found ways to boil it into a liquid, and when mixed with old junk food, it turns into a disgusting chemical drink that gives you a short burst of energy. No one knows why it works, but it does. The poison refuses to die, even when you drink it. When Father Elijah found it, he didn't see a disaster. He saw potential. He learned about the Madre from Ulysses and went there to study it himself. He wanted to weaponize the cloud, to drown the Mojave in red fog, erase the NCR, and suffocate Caesar's legion in the process. He believed it could cleanse the land and reset civilization. But the cloud doesn't cleanse anything, it just consumes. It's humanity's creation turned against itself, a failed experiment that turned a paradise into a graveyard. It's still out there in the ruins of the Sierra Madre, guarding what's left like it was designed to. A true hell built by human hands. Ash storms happen when the ground keeps burning after it should have gone cold. They sweep through Appalachia's southern mountains, thick and black, made of soot and smoke that never clears. There's no thunder, just wind carrying burning dust from the mines below, dumping it on everything it touches. When one starts to form, the air goes still first. The world turns gray and sunlight fades behind a wall of ash so dense it looks solid. You can't tell how close it is until it's already on top of you. The air itself is the weapon. It scrapes your throat, coats your teeth, and fills your lung with a powder that grinds when you breathe. The storms choke the land, kill sound, and turn the sky into a sheet of smoke that never ends. People who've been caught inside say it's like walking through a furnace that doesn't burn your skin, only your lungs. Even with a mask, the dust gets in. The toxins cling to you, making every breath thinner until you start to wheeze and cough from the poison. When the wind shifts, the ash drops in waves. It falls in clumps, heavy and damp from the smoke, sticking to everything it lands on. The ground disappears under layers of gray powder that stay warm for hours. Some say the storms glow faintly from below, lit by the fire still burning in the tunnels under Mount Blair. Those coal seams have been smoldering since before the war, and no one's ever been able to put them out. In real life, something similar happened in Centralia, Pennsylvania, a coal mine fire that started in 1962 and still burns today. The fire spread through abandoned tunnels, heating the ground above and releasing deadly gases. David Deckick, the author of Unseen Danger, A Tragedy of People, Government, and the Centralia Mine Fire, described it by saying, "This was a world where no human could live. Hotter than the planet Mercury, its atmosphere as poisonous as Saturn's. At the heart of the fire, temperatures easily exceeded 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Lethal clouds of carbon monoxide and other gases swirled through the rock chambers. If that's anything like what's happening under the ash heap, that's terrifying." The strangest part about these storms is how quiet they are. They eat sound, leaving only the steady hiss of ash hitting metal. You can't tell how far you've gone or if you're walking in circles. Travelers talk about hearing faint cracks beneath them, burning rock shifting deep underfoot, and the ash storms never really stop. They fade for a while and then return with that same steady rhythm. The mountain burns, the wind rises, and the ash falls again. It's proof the ground beneath you is still alive and angry. It's what's left of a fire that refused to die. Once, this was a stretch of land between Hopeville and Ashton. Quiet towns built on the idea of progress, sitting above silos meant to protect that dream. Families lived over weapons of mass destruction, trusting American engineering and believing the future could be controlled. Then the bombs fell, the silos went silent, and the storms began to rise. Now the divide is a wound that never healed. The air is thick with dust and radiation. The storms didn't move on. They stay, spinning endlessly through the canyons. When lightning strikes the valley, it burns red, lighting up the ruins for only a second before everything goes black again. The storm scrapes what it touches, grinding metal, stone, and flesh into dust. The detonations that formed it came from below. A chain reaction started by one delivery, a single package that reactivated the nuclear silos under Hopeville and Ashton. When they launched, the ground tore open. The explosions along the fault line created a canyon stretching from east to west, swallowing highways, bridges, and buildings. The pavement folded over itself. Roads twisted like wire, and parts of the overpasses collapsed into the cities below. Vehicles were crushed into the dirt, half buried beneath slabs of concrete and rusted steel. What's left of Hopeville now sits under that storm. Constant wind scours the ruins, carrying sand that's fused into glass in some places. Every gust moves the soil a little more, burying what's left piece by piece. The storms here strip the valley and start again, catching the ash and debris from the detonations and turning them into an endless cyclone. The air can shred skin in seconds. Visibility drops to nothing. It's a storm made from fragments of buildings, shattered windows, and whatever else it can tear loose, and then it grinds everything in its path. Some of those caught in the blast never died. The first were burned alive. The ones who lived through it became the marked men, burned, hollow, and barely human, kept alive by the same radiation that should have killed them. They wander the divide now, and the storm sustains them just as much as it torments them. Standing there, it's hard to tell where the desert ends and the sky begins. The storm covers it all, turning daylight into a rust-colored haze. Some storms are natural, and others are man-made. The one in Skyline Valley, the eye of the storm, is both. It started as a scientific project, an attempt to control weather and repair Appalachia's damaged climate. Inside Vault 63, scientists built machines that could pull in moisture, redirect air pressure, and create clouds out of nothing. It was meant to help the world recover, but when the vault systems failed and its technology mixed with lingering radiation from the mountains, the experiment didn't fix the weather, it made something worse. The storm that came from Vault 63 isn't like any other. It doesn't drift away, it pulses, growing and shrinking around the machine that built it. From the outside, the eye looks like a black spiral surrounded by lightning that flashes blue-white inside the clouds. When it activates, the sky flickers and the air starts to buzz. The deeper you go, the more static fills the air until every breath tastes metallic. It would be like standing inside a giant generator ready to blow. The storm bends energy, feeding on radiation. It's a tug of war between human technology and what's left of nature. Inside the core, the air pressure drops so fast that it twists in on itself. Anything caught in there never comes out. Some people in Vault 63 called it the Eye because it seemed aware, like it was watching. The man behind it, Hugo Stoltz, he wanted control. He thought he could use the storm to connect with the lost, people changed by Vault 63's experiments. and then command them. But when the system overloaded, the storm stopped obeying. It started growing on its own, drawing in power and static and anything nearby that carried energy, almost like a black hole. People swear they've seen shapes in the lightning, outlines of faces and figures trapped in the glow. No one knows if those are the lost or something the storm created. It doesn't behave like normal weather. Even when the machine's powered down, the eye lingers, circling the mountains around Vault 63. Another man-made disaster that was meant to save the world, but instead created another nightmare. We don't really have much solid info on quantum storms. They're basically a visual variant of rad storms. They were first seen as a custom weather preset in Fallout 76's Fallout Worlds. The difference is the color. The sky and lightning glow in a bright blue-pink, Nuka-Cola quantum style. Outside of Worlds, you'll see them during seasonal events like Invaders from Beyond, where the sky switches to that same quantum palette for the whole encounter. There isn't any official lore behind it. It's mostly just a cosmetic effect. But it's still canon that it exists. Why it happens when the Zayden show up isn't explained. It doesn't happen in Fallout 3. Maybe it's tied to the energy readings from their ships, or maybe it's a reaction with old Nuka facilities nearby. Whatever the cause, it's still a type of storm, so I wanted to bring it up. From far away, the fog on Mount Desert Island looks harmless, slow, white, and rolling in from the sea like normal mist. But inside it, you realize it's not fog at all. It's radiation made visible, thick enough to bury towns and toxic enough to burn your lungs. By 2287, it covers nearly the entire island, leaving only a few safe spots. The town of Far Harbor, which is protected by Acadia's fog condensers, and Acadia itself, high above the fog line. Everything else belongs to it. It doesn't roll in gently. It creeps forward until it blocks out the world. It hides the coast, the lighthouses, even the cliffs. Out at sea, it's worse. Ships lose visibility and crash into the rocks, and then they disappear. Without guidance, the fog becomes a trap that swallows anyone inside. Islanders say it blankets up people, wrapping around them until they lose direction completely, leaving only the low hum of radiation in the air. For those who breathe it in, the fog does more than sicken them. It gets into lungs, chills bones, and wears down the mind. Exposure drives people mad before it kills them. Isolation and starvation make it worse. Some wander too far and lose everything human. The locals call them trappers. They were once normal people that have now been turned violent, claiming the fog speaks to them. Maybe it does. Whatever they hear, it keeps them from leaving. Not everyone reacts the same way. The children of Adam walk through it without harm, calling it holy and believing it's their God's gift. Synths from Acadia are immune. Their synthetic bodies protect them. Fog ghouls exist too. Feral ghouls changed by exposure, their skin pale and burned. They roam endlessly inside it, their bodies somehow still held together by what's left of the radiation. The wildlife has changed more than anything else. Wolves have grown larger and smarter, hunting by sound. Fog crawlers are massive insect-like predators that rule the deep fog, where the radiation peaks and visibility vanishes. These creatures stick to those zones, moving with the fog as it spreads. In the thickest parts where even light struggles to cut through, you'll hear them long before you see them. The fog has layers. Some are just light mist with a metallic taste. Others are dense and glowing at night, strong enough to rot flesh. Even weak pockets can poison you if you stay too long. They drift across the land in waves, carried by the wind like living radiation. People fight it, but only delay it. Fog condensers pull particles from the air and condense them into liquid, which can then be collected to make stims or liquor. But even bottled, it's still dangerous. The fog is constant, patient, and unstoppable. It spreads inch by inch, covering what's left of the island. It's changing the land, mutating life, and stays with everyone who breathes it in. It isn't here to destroy, it's here to stay. Is there more strange weather in Fallout that I missed that you want to hear about? Let me know. I appreciate you guys watching. Keep those hazmat suits handy, and remember, enjoyed time is never wasted time, and I'll see you in the next.